Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. If you have not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. We're getting so close to that mark. So if you love special segments, sports betting, sports news, daily uploads, updated rankings every single week, my reactions, anything at all, it's all right here on the Talk of the Town podcast. So I promise you, your subscription will be well worth it and much appreciated. And speaking of special segments, today we're back with another Slips for Sundays here on the YouTube channel. We're also going to react to the Thursday night football game last night with the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. And yeah, that'll be about it for today's episode. Let's start off with, actually, you know what? Let me mention something real quick. Today is the 49th episode of the podcast. So Monday will be the 50th episode here on the Talk of the Town podcast. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there real quick because that feels like a really good milestone. It's been doing this for about 2.5 months now, right around that mark. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to anyone who's coming out and supporting, whether or not you disagree with my takes, you leave your comments and you disagree. You just stick around, watch for a little bit, whatever it is, any amount of time you guys take out of your day to watch my videos, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is appreciated beyond words. I can't even think of words to say. So I just want to give a big thank you to you guys as I'm heading in to my 50th episode here on the podcast. It just feels like a really good milestone. And anyone who's new here or has been here for a little while or however long, it's here for the long run, man, because I plan on doing this for a long time. Like, I'm talking until I got gray hair. So be ready for a long time of hot takes here on the Talk of the Town podcast. So let's start off here with the Thursday night football game with the Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals last night. We're going to talk about the Seahawks, I want to talk about the Cardinals here real quick. So Kyler Murray had 2 interceptions last night. Now, we all know those weren't his fault. There's something that's strange going on with the Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray connection to where I'm not out on Marvin Harrison Jr. There's just something there that those two are not connecting. I don't know whether they don't like each other. I don't necessarily think that's the case at all. I don't know if Marvin Harrison is not understanding the plays well. I don't think any of us really know. The guy is uber talented, like just oozing with talent. There's no shortage of that, whether or not he can play in the NFL. I mean, the touchdown catch he had last night, he had a pretty redeeming fourth quarter. That was the quarter it felt like he needed. You see when he had the touchdown over Witherspoon, he really just, he sat there and he kind of looked down and looked like he was saying a little bit of a prayer to himself almost. I'm sure he probably was. That had to have felt good because it's not a skill issue for Marvin Harrison. I know he had that drop and you might say, well, he can't catch the football. It's in his head. You can tell he is fully in his head there. It's a confidence issue. Once you lose confidence in the NFL or just anything you do in your life, even me, you, anything, the second you lose confidence, you notice your skills in something until you gain that confidence back. You are not the same at whatever you're doing, whether it's you're playing a sport, doing your work, whatever it is. Playing a video game, it doesn't matter. Once you lose confidence with anything in your life, it's hard to bounce back, and you usually do bounce back at some point. And that's why I think Marvin Harrison's going to bounce back, but it's tough. You have a stretch there where you are just really down on yourself. You can tell Marvin Harrison, it's eating him alive. I mean, the 4th overall pick, the 4th or 5th overall pick of last year, and I mean he was renowned as a generational talent at receiver. I mean, I was thinking the Cardinals have another Larry Fitzgerald. How do they keep doing this? But and I think they absolutely still could. Know whether or not he lives up to be as good as Larry Fitzgerald, I don't necessarily know about all that, but he can be he's a Hall of Fame talented receiver. In terms of talent, the sky is the limit for Marvin Harrison Jr., but the connection with him and Kyler Murray just has to be better. And it looked like it really formed and gelled in the fourth quarter there of that game. So hopefully they can keep it rolling. And I mentioned those two picks because they were both on Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, the first one he stopped running. Now, they did actually end up getting the ball back during that possession, but he just stopped running. Now, whether or not that would have been a complete pass, it looked a little far out anyway, even if he kept going. But it may have distracted. I forget who intercepted that football, but they may have distracted him. He could have broken it up. Anything else besides that? That's on Marvin Harrison. The second one was on Marvin Harrison. I mean, it fell right out of his hands. He had it in his hands and bobbled it and went right in to the to the Seahawks defender. So that was tough, but he had a really good redeeming fourth quarter. That's the big story with the Cardinals here today. That and is Kyler Murray. Do the Cardinals want to keep rolling with Kyler Murray? I mean, that's been news here for like a few years, but it's really ramping up this season. And one thing I'll say about that is, and I feel the same way about Tua as well down in Miami. It's like, okay, but who are you going to replace these guys with that are better than Kyler and Tua? I know a lot of people don't like Tua's not having a very good year right now at all. But at the same time, like who are you going to replace him with? I don't know. Especially Kyler. Like Kyler may not be top 10. And I heard Kirk Herbstreit last night say, like, this guy's all the talent in the world. He is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. But so is Josh Allen. But you don't even think of him near being Josh Allen. Like something's off. I don't know if it's just him playing for Arizona, whatever it is, or if he's just not. Honestly, there's been kind of rumors going around. We know Kyler Murray likes playing Call of Duty and streaming. Like there's a meme saying that he doesn't practice. He just stays home and plays Call of Duty all day. How much of his heart is really into it? I'm sure it absolutely is. But he's on a major, $200-something million deal with the Cardinals. And, some guys are more into it than others. There's no doubt about that. Like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, their love for the game is not even in the same stratosphere as Kyler Murray. It just isn't. You can tell by the way they're on the field, the way they motivate their teammates, their leadership. It's just, I mean, I know Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are also on a different stratosphere in terms of legacy and being a better player. But Kyler has all the talent in the world to be a great player. I think it all just comes down to him and his effort. And I'm not saying he doesn't put in any effort, but I don't think he puts in the max amount of effort he possibly can on the football field because there would be a lot better results. I know the team around him isn't necessarily the best, but he doesn't have a bad team around them either, and especially years before that. I mean, they were 8-0 at one point a few years ago, and, the team is obviously very different from then, but Kyler did play a good game last night. I'm not necessarily saying he had a bad performance. His interceptions were not his fault. He was 27 for 41, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He had a pretty good rushing game as well. Five carries, 41 yards. Dude, when he runs, he just looks electric. He's so small, but his legs just look like they just go like this. They literally, it's like so fast how fast his legs move. He's an incredible athlete. He really is. But they're missing James Conner. Of course they are. I mean, and you may take out any team's main running back, especially James Conner when he's healthy, is a top 10 running back in the NFL. Trey Benson had 8 carries for 35 yards. They didn't even really run the ball last night. DeMarcado only had 2 carries for 8 yards. And then they had Craig Dorshin. Who is that? I think it's, Michael Carter had a couple carries, but they're receivers. So their running isn't pretty obsolete. So I think that's going to really hurt the Cardinals. I think they need to go outside another running back, to be completely honest with you. Whether or not they do, I don't know. I'm sure they will at some point. But Cardinals, I mentioned it last week. I've seen some people talking about whether the Cardinals legit. I mean, they're 2-0, and no one talks about it being 2-0. Well, the two teams they beat, they beat the Saints and the Panthers, and the Panthers almost had an all-time crazy comeback on the Cardinals. The Cardinals got very lucky to pull out that win. But when you beat those two teams, no one's really going to take you too serious, to be honest with you, at first. If you would have went in and beat San Francisco and Seattle, which they could have easily won those games. I mean, they were way in these games. The Cardinals were not in the game for most of the game, but the fourth quarter, they outplayed the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they looked like they played like that all game. They would have won this game by about 3 touchdowns. Cardinals again are kind of stuck in the mid purgatory. Probably going to be in the 7-8 win team, maybe a 9-win team. But I can't really see them finishing any better than that. Their schedule, their schedule, they have stretches of kind of a weak schedule where I think they could go probably win 4 straight, and then where they could drop like 5 straight. So, yeah, I can't see the Cardinals making the playoffs. And their division's tough. And I've been saying this last few weeks. Is like to me, they're definitely the worst team in their division. Maybe barring how many more injuries San Francisco gets, which never ever seems to be ending for the San Francisco 49ers. Now Ricky Pearsall looks like he's injured apparently. It just never seems to end for the San Francisco 49ers. I have to check his injury report to see if he's playing this weekend, but no team can sustain with that amount of injuries. You can't. I don't care. They're pulling them out right now, but it's not sustainable to have that many 4th, 5th, 3rd stringers in there. It's just not. It's going to fall apart eventually. So they have to get healthy. I know the Cardinals are probably hoping that the 49ers don't get healthy if they have any chance of making the playoffs. One thing I want to know is, what do you guys think of Jonathan Gannon? I don't really have much of an opinion on him, to be honest with you. Do you think maybe if they go 7-8 wins, 9-ish wins, do you think he gets fired? Maybe. I'm not saying that he is, but I'm kind of. I wish you guys would leave that down in the comments if you think so, because I really don't know. I don't know what the Cardinals front office is going to make him. It always kind of feels like he's just in there to be there. Like, they're not bad enough for him to just blatantly get fired, but at the same time, if anyone fired him, people would probably be like, well, I mean, he wasn't that bad as a Cardinals head coach, but they probably wouldn't really make too big of a story out of it. I wouldn't fire Jonathan Gannon. I mean, the team doesn't have much going for him, to be honest with you. So I was be curious to hear your guys' take on that. Talk about the Seattle Seahawks here for a few minutes. The Seahawks definitely feel like a dark horse contender in the NFC. Now, whether or not they can continue, or if they do manage to get to the playoffs, I think first it's just about making the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They went 10-7 and didn't make the playoffs. So it wasn't like they had a bad season last year at all. But if they can make the playoffs, I think the one thing that hurts this team is the lack of playoff experience for the Seattle Seahawks right now. And I think Mike Macdonald never coaching, or he was the defensive coordinator in the playoffs for the Baltimore Ravens. But in terms of being a head coach in the playoffs, it's kind of two different elements, to be honest with you. Their lack of experience, I think, if this team were to make it, would stop them from getting to the Super Bowl. But they silenced a lot of the people saying, well, the Seahawks aren't legit. I think the Seahawks are legit. They are a legit, maybe pull a win or two, maybe make an NFC championship kind of team. Because when you think of the NFC, people are thinking of Detroit, the Eagles, Tampa, even the Commanders, but you're not really thinking of Seattle or the Rams too, who was in the Seahawks division. I think they could definitely pull out and win this division. Now, they have to keep their record good within the division right now. I think San Francisco, this injury thing keeps going for San Francisco. It's a matter of time before it falls apart. Like this week, if they go in and Pearsall doesn't play, they're a Christian McCaffrey injury away from maybe dropping like maybe 5 or 6 straight games. They are right on the verge. They're playing good football, Saleh's coaching an amazing defense right now. They're working their magic. I'm giving them all the credit in the world because what they're doing right now with all the injuries they have is pretty incredible, to be honest with you. I think if this was just about any other team in the league, San Francisco might legitimately be 0-3 right now, or maybe 1-2. So that coaching staff is pulling off a miracle. I mean, you have the Baltimore Ravens who are not fully healthy, but are for the most part healthy. They're missing Matt Abike, which is kind of scary because he might have like a neck-ending career injury. It looks like he has some positive news to where it's not like that. But they're missing Van Noy. They're missing certain players. Every team is going to be missing certain players coming into the season, some of their best players. But San Francisco is legitimately missing players everywhere, and Baltimore sells a majority of their players, and they're 1-2. San Francisco's 3-0. So it just goes to show you how good the coaching is right now in the 49ers organization. And for the Seahawks, I think they're kind of hoping some players go down, but I don't think they're necessarily like wanting it. But if they've seen it, they wouldn't necessarily complain. It would make it easier for them to win their division in the NFC West. And the Rams are obviously going to be extremely competitive. This could be something that goes down to the last week or two in the NFC West. So Seahawks as long as Sam Darnold, like he did last night, he was 18 for 26. Sorry, my phone was like slipping down my lap. I couldn't see it. 18 for 26, 242 yards, a touchdown, and no picks. He can just play that game manager role. Honestly, I think Sam Darnold, I think he's way more talented than just being a game manager player, but that's all he has to do is be a game manager. As long as he can play that role, the Seattle Seahawks will finish with around 12 wins. And be competing to win the NFC West. So I think the Seahawks are legit. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are actually a pretty underrated running back duo, I think, to be completely honest with you. I think they're one of the better ones on the league. Kenneth Walker is just the explosive back that can break off the 20, 30, 40-yard run if he needs to. He had, 19 carries, 81 yards. He didn't have a touchdown last night, but he averaged over 4 yards a carry. Charbonnet is more the bruising back. He had 12 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown. He was 3.2 yards a carry. So that duo kind of, they're not as good as Montgomery and Gibbs, but they kind of have that element of like, okay, Charbonnet is the good running back who, when you're within 5 yards of the end zone, just hand it off to Charbonnet a few times, and you should be able to get it in. And Kenneth Walker, kind of like the Jahmyr Gibbs role, is the explosive guy that can just break off, and he's so fast down the field. So they have that element. The Lions kind of have there of that Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker running back room right there. No, those two aren't as good as Montgomery and Gibbs, but they have kind of like a dollar store version of it, I guess. Although I wouldn't necessarily say they're that far below them, but I think we all agree that those two are not as good as those two. But, you got JSN, Torrey Horton, who was looking like a really good rookie, a guy, if they can develop him well, who's already seeming like he's getting better every single week, could be a real threat for any other team to go against, and a real plus there for the Seattle Seahawks. So I think Seattle's legit, man. I think this team could really be contending to win the NFC West. If not, get to a playoff spot. As long as you make the playoffs, you can make anything happen. But if they were to make the playoffs, I say their only downfall is lack of playoff experience, head coaching, and players. I'd probably say that would be their downfall later on in the season. If they end up getting to that point, they got a long way to go. Anything can happen. So but if they stick on the pace they're on, 3-1, they shut up a lot of the critics this week. People want to take them more serious. So good for Seattle last night. Got the game-winning field goal. I thought they were going to choke that game away, but they didn't. And yeah, good win for Seattle there. So let's get in here to slips for Sundays here on the YouTube channel. My allergies have been terrible the last couple of days. It's just weather change. One day it's 80 degrees where I live at. The other day it's 60 degrees and raining. It's been raining like the last few days. So I know it's like that where you guys are, but allergies are terrible for me here. But we're going to get into slips for Sundays. We got my three favorite bets, 3 bets to avoid, and we always end off the video with one crazy bet. If you guys are feeling lucky this week, make sure to put that in. What I think is my best chance, or the best chance for you to win big time money. So, yeah. So let's get into my first favorite game here. I have the Saints versus the Bills here this week for my first favorite game. I've got my phone everywhere right now. I cannot hold on to this thing. So I'll put it up here on the screen. I got Josh Allen, 210 plus passing yards, Keon Coleman, anytime touchdown score. I'm going to take the spread in the first quarter for the Buffalo Bills, over 3.5. Alvin Kamara, 50 plus rushing yards, and Josh Allen, 2+ passing touchdowns. I think Josh Allen's going to have a massive game. I think the Saints were sticking around the first few weeks against some teams. They were playing against Arizona, San Francisco. Then they went against Seattle, who we just seen last night. Seattle completely didn't even make them look like an NFL team last week. And the Bills are even better than Seattle is. And the Bills are at home, I believe. Yes, the Bills are at home. The one thing with Buffalo, though, is that Buffalo kind of always tends to stick around with teams that are like really bad. Or they used to do that a few years ago, but when they played against the Jets a few weeks ago, that game was never competitive. From the second that clock in the first quarter went from 15 to 14:59, it was literally over. It was not competitive for 1 second of that football game with the Jets and Bills, and I feel like it's going to be similar here. Josh Allen, going to be passing all over the Saints. The Saints' defensive line is actually okay, but their passing defense has been really bad at New Orleans. It has not been great at all. So I'm going to take him on the 210. I think he's averaging about 257 a game, something like that, right around that mark. So Keon Coleman, anytime touchdown scorer. He is Josh Allen's favorite target. He's the most targets on the team and the most targets in the red zone right now. And against the Saints, who are not the best red zone defense in the league whatsoever, I think that feels really good to me right there. He loves seeing Keon Coleman as big receiver in the end zone there. Buffalo Bills 3.5 spread in the first quarter. The Buffalo has been a really good first quarter team. Their defense is really good. The Saints have not been a good first quarter team. On the other hand, that's where I say Buffalo gets a touchdown and a field goal, and New Orleans does not score in the first quarter. And I think even if they just get a touchdown, that covers the spread there. New Orleans has not been a very good first quarter team at all in the NFL so far throughout this season. Alvin Kamara, 50-plus rushing yards, and Josh Allen, 2+ passing touchdowns. Josh Allen's going to take some deep shots. They're going to be passing all over the Saints. I can already tell you their game plan right now. They're going to be passing all over the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara, they're going to be really trying to crunch the ball out with him, waste some time there. He's had some hard time getting some holes, but he averages around 62 rushing yards a game, something like that, right around that mark. So, yeah, I feel really good about that. New Orleans is going to be one of my favorite teams to bet against the entire year. New Orleans is going to struggle to get like 3 or 4 wins. To be honest with you, this team's going to struggle. They'll be in some games. They'll be competitive in some games. But when they play against teams like Buffalo, they do not stand a chance. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. They really, really do not stand a chance. So, yeah, man, I got Buffalo and a majority of my parlays here for this year, and especially here against the Saints. Definitely, I put 4 to the 5 of the legs in my slip are Buffalo, because I think they're really just going to tear it up, to be honest with you. So that's that. You get 10 for 150 there. That feels like I like always betting against New Orleans. My parlay against New Orleans hit last week as well with Seattle and New Orleans. So I feel good betting against New Orleans. My next game, my first game to avoid is the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to be honest with you. This is an extremely hot take, but I think the Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Houston Texans this week. I think Houston's going to fall to 0-4. Houston's offense is really bad, and Tennessee's defense is actually pretty good. So I do not feel comfortable betting Houston. I probably will not bet Houston one game this entire year. I legitimately don't think I will. I'd avoid it. I'd avoid all Houston games, but I'd also avoid this game, divisional game, Houston versus Tennessee. And Tennessee, while of course they're 0-3, they're not playing very good football. They're arguably, not the defense. Houston's defense is one of the top units in the league. Their offense is playing better than Houston's. Houston's offense is a massive red flag. CJ Stroud needs to have a career game this week, and I don't know if he will. I really don't know if he will. I haven't seen CJ Stroud bounce back from a bad week yet. So that's why I'm really hesitant to bet with Houston, but I don't like it at all. I think Tennessee's going to win this game. I think Tennessee is going to upset the Houston Texans here this weekend, and that'll be the nail in the coffin for the Houston Texans. That's my opinion. Obviously, you go the other way. In terms of who should win, it should be the Houston Texans. That's why I'm saying Tennessee's going to upset Houston. I would not feel comfortable betting Houston, whether it's your survivor pool, whether it is anything. I would not feel comfortable with Houston and Tennessee at all. Again, Tennessee's defense is a pretty good defense, and their offense, which has not been a great or even a very good unit, has been playing better. The Tennessee's are playing better than Houston's. Houston's offensive unit is putrid. It sucks. It really does. So whether or not they bounce back this week, I'm not confident with. To be honest with you, I'm really not confident Houston's offense is going to bounce back this week against Tennessee. Divisional games are always weird too. Next game that I want to talk about as my favorite parlay here, Packers versus Cowboys. Put that parlay up here on the screen. Matthew Golden, 50+ receiving yards. He averages about 40-something a game, right around that mark. that Cowboys secondary, people. That Cowboys secondary is absolutely garbage. It is absolutely terrible. The whole defensive unit in general is terrible. I think Jordan Love is going to be passing all over the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. I feel very confident with that. Jordan Love is going to bounce back from having a very not so good game last week against the Cleveland Browns, which is the top ranked unit in the NFL in terms of defense, to the worst. So it's a Sunday night game. Micah Parsons, his return to Dallas. It'll be interesting to see. As I mentioned, the second Micah Parsons gets any pressure, if he gets half a sack, I bet my life they will put that camera pan right on Jerry Jones right away up there in his box or wherever he's sitting at. It's only matters. I don't think he's going to get a sack, to be honest with you. He's going to want one so bad. Brandon Aubrey, 2+ field goals. This is the first time this year in my slips for Sundays. I put 2 field goals in there. Packers defense, again, is one of the top units. Brandon Aubrey, even from 60+ yards, feels pretty automatic. So the Cowboys really kick it from anywhere. Now, whether or not they're going to go for a lot of them, I don't think so. I think they're going to try to get any points on the board they possibly can. And Brandon Aubrey always at least seems to make, he averages 2.7 field goals per game. So I feel pretty comfortable with the Brandon Aubrey 2+ field goals, especially with the Packers defense. They're going to hold the Cowboys out of the end zone, I think, for a majority of the game. So it's going to be hard for them to score. So they're going to take the points as it can come. Next one I have is Romeo Doubs, 25+ receiving yards. May seem a little low. He's their leading receiver on the team, averages the most yards per game receiving for the Packers. But I feel like it's going to be more Matthew Golden this week than Romeo Doubs. Whether or not only Romeo Doubs 25+, I don't want to go too high. I was maybe debate like 40+, but I feel comfortable with 25+. The Cowboys secondary is really, really terrible. And one thing with Green Bay is they spread the ball around. It's not just one guy going for 90 or 100 yards every game. They spread the love there in Green Bay. Everyone gets involved. So that's definitely, if you're betting on multiple receivers for the Green Bay Packers, that's actually the one team to feel comfortable with doing it, because this team constantly spreads the love around the field. Then I have Javonte Williams, 40+ rushing yards here. The secondary for Green Bay has been one of the best units in the NFL. One of the things I was actually concerned with coming into the season was the Green Bay secondary. Well, they've been great starting off the season here. They've been absolutely great. So, I mean, honestly, I'd probably say it's been always better than their pass rush. I watched them against the Commanders a few weeks ago, and I was like, dude, they are just on them like no tomorrow, dude. I was just like, oh my gosh. It's been pretty crazy to see how good that secondary has been balling out with not really big names back there. I mean, Xavier McKinney is a safety, but in terms of corners or anything, they don't have any really big names back there. And they're playing some great football, man. That's a well-coached defense. So I think they're going to be pounding the rock with Javonte Williams. 40+ yards feels like a lock there for him. He's actually been pretty good this season for the Dallas Cowboys. So that is it for that slip. Next game to avoid, I have the Colts versus the Rams. I'm still on the fence whether or not Indy's legit. This is the prove-it game to me. If they go in and beat Los Angeles, and their offense looks to the level they've looked the first 3 weeks, even their defense, the Colts will be legit. They will be legit. Remember, the Rams last week against the Philadelphia Eagles were up 26-7. They blew that game. That game was completely on them. That was their game to lose, and they did end up losing to the Eagles, a former Super Bowl contender who hasn't lost in like a year or some crazy shit like that. So this will be a real test for the Indianapolis Colts. I think we're all waiting to see it. A lot of people are hesitant to move the Colts up to be a borderline top 5 team in the NFL. And if they want to be that, they got to win this game this week, because this is against a borderline top 5 team in the NFL within the Rams as well. Some people still have them in their top 5, even with the loss. I'm not necessarily going to disagree. The team is playing great. That their defense flies all over the field. And it's going to be a tough game for the Colts. I think the Rams, if I had to take a team to win, I would take the Rams. But again, there's a lot of question marks coming in this game. That's why I don't feel comfortable betting on this game. Because you don't know how well Daniel Jones is playing like an MVP right now. But this is a legit defense he's going against right now, which Denver, a legit defense. He's played against legit defenses already. But an NFC opponent, it could get weird. This really feels like a big time prove-it game for the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of pressure on a team like that. So I'd be very hesitant to bet on the Rams and Colts game as well, because if the Colts are legit, then you're going to kind of overhype the Rams, kind of buy into their stock, and you're going to be completely disappointed. So I don't feel comfortable betting that game at all. Both sides could be very weird for both sides coming to that game. I don't feel comfortable betting really any player. I guess maybe the only ones like Stafford or Jonathan Taylor, but that's about it, to be honest with you. And Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, of course, but that's really about it. Nah, I just would stay away from that game in general. My last game is my last favorite game here to bet on this week is the Chargers versus the Giants. I'll put that parlay up here right on screen. Justin Herbert, 250 plus passing yards. The Giants secondary is not very good at all. They played an okay game against the Chiefs, but they constantly let up big plays. There's massive holes. And the Chargers, very similar to the Packers, which I just mentioned, they spread the love around there on offense, right? I mean, Keenan Allen, McConkey, Quentin Johnson, that ball's everywhere. The ball's going everywhere. There's not just one guy who's ball dominant there. It goes everywhere, and it's going to be a hard time for the Giants to cover. I fully believe. I don't really like their secondary at all. Their pass rush is pretty good, but the Chargers' offensive line has been holding pretty much every pass rush to a standstill. So I really do like Justin Herbert, 250 plus passing yards there. He averages like 273 a game, somewhere around that mark. Had a fly light right on my shoulder. I had to get him real quick. Like, dude, get away from me. But the next one I have is Omarion Hampton, anytime touchdown score. I can't remember whether or not he's got a touchdown yet, but if he hasn't, it feels like it's coming. I'm pretty sure he has. I think he had one last game. If he didn't, I can't remember. Especially with Najee being out, he's going to get a lot more touches down there in the red zone. I think the Chargers are going to be in the red zone quite a bit. And Jim Harbaugh loves running the football, even though they've been passing the ball a pretty good bit this year. The red zone, they can't resist running that football. And Omarion Hampton feels like he's going to get a touchdown in this game for sure. Justin Herbert under half an interception. I don't think he's going to throw a pick against the secondary, to be completely honest with you. He had a pick last week, but Justin Herbert's thrown like 4 interceptions in the last year and a half or something like that, and against not a very good secondary. And again, anything can happen. They're all NFL players, professional athletes at the end of the day, but I feel pretty comfortable going under an interception for Justin Herbert. Coming off of one, he's going to be a lot more cautious to throw, and he's done literally 4 in over a year or something. It's been a pretty wild ride for him. I can't all of a sudden imagine now all of a sudden he's going to throw this plethora of picks. So under half an interception for Justin Herbert. And Cam Scatterbo, 25 plus receiving yards. Jackson Dart is going to want to throw to his checkdowns. I would feel very comfortable with Scatterbo getting 25 plus yards there. Tight ends, anything. I wouldn't necessarily go big on Malik Neighbors this week in terms of yards. If you think Jackson Dart is going to, if Malik Neighbors is now going to get a ton of yards because Jackson Dart is the quarterback, maybe I'm completely wrong. But a rookie's quarterback's first start, he's going to win his check down. Stable's going to call a lot of check down plays. Remember when they had Tommy DeVito coming? Now, this is different. Tommy DeVito's not quite as talented, obviously, as Jackson Dart. But they put in Tommy DeVito. They ran the ball and threw screen passes every single play during the game. It was pretty crazy. Daboll is not a very risky guy when it comes to running an offense. So it's going to be a lot of checkdowns of Scatterbo. He's going to tell Jackson Dart that, I'm sure, just don't turn the ball over. Dart has nerves anyway, so I wouldn't necessarily imagine there's going to be too many deep balls, big plays to Malik Neighbors quite yet, heading into his first game against a really good Chargers defense. So I'd be very cautious to bet big on Malik Neighbors if you're betting this week as well. Don't feel like that's a lock now because Russell Wilson isn't playing. This is Jackson Dart's first game against a really good defense. So, be careful there if you're betting on Malik Neighbors. I try to avoid it. But that's what I feel comfortable with the Giants and Chargers heading in here to week 4. That's one of my favorite bets of the week there. My last game here that I had to avoid is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Francisco 49ers. Again, 49ers are injury depleted. Everywhere you look, there's an injury on the 49ers roster right now. The Jags, you don't really know what you're going to get with Jacksonville. Jacksonville looks like they shouldn't be winning these games, but they are winning these games. I don't think they're necessarily playing really good football. They're playing decent football. They're playing gritty football. But I think if it comes down to playing a gritty football match, I think the 49ers get that win, to be honest with you. Again, but the 49ers injuries, how much is it going to affect them in this game? We do not know. Is it finally going to catch up to them this week, or is it going to catch up to them next week or the week after? I just have no idea. I mentioned a little bit ago, they're Christian McCaffrey injury away from maybe dropping 5 straight games. You can't win with all your players out like that. You can't do it. It's impossible. No matter who you are, who's coaching you, anything. And it's not. I'm not sitting there saying it to try and trash the Niners, but it's true. Niners fans know that too. If your whole team's out, you're running your backup quarterback. You don't have your star-studded tight end. You're missing your receiving crew now. McCaffrey goes down. You're missing it. It's over. It's over at that point. So hopefully that does not happen. But yeah, 49ers and Jags, I tend to stay away from that. The Jaguars are a mixed bag. Again, feels like they should be losing this game. They throw a lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy football, but they just end up getting the win. They end up playing some gritty football against not so great teams. Jake Browning and the Bengals, and when they beat Houston last week. Oh, no, they lost to Cincinnati. So I had it all mixed up. They beat Carolina the first week, lost to Jake Browning and the Bengals, should have won that game, and then ended up beating Houston in a really bad football game last week. So a lot of turnovers in that game. 49ers don't really turn the ball over, so if the Jags stay on that wave of turning the ball over, the 49ers I think are going to end up pulling out the win even with all their injuries. So beware of that. So that's my game to avoid. I'm going to put up my crazy bet right here on the screen right now for you guys. If you're feeling lucky this week, make sure to do that. This crazy bet is a lot less crazy than the other ones I posted the last few weeks. I just wanted to do a 6-leg parlay this week. Some money lines in there. You guys feel like doing that up in it? $20 is about $322 there. So feeling lucky this week, smash that parlay for me, and we will do that there. And let me know what you guys think of my parlays. Let me know if you guys do any of them in the comments. I'd be glad to see which one you guys do. Of course, I do them every single week and some more on top of that because I love sports. I'm a sports addict, so I don't know points. Whether you guys call me a betting addict or not, or a gambling addict, I definitely am not. But I stick true to my parlays I post here on the channel. So that is it for today's video on Slips for Sundays. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys put any of these parlays in, make sure to let me know in the comments. Heading into our 50th podcast episode here on Monday, so make sure to tune in for that. I'll be reacting to all of the games from Sunday, or some of my favorite games from Sunday. We'll be reacting to those. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And everyone have a great weekend and take it easy.